All right, today we have a 2004 Volvo S60 with the 2.4 liter 5-cylinder engine. We're going to be replacing the spark plugs and ignition coils on the car. The car has about 130,000 miles, and the customer thinks it's time, so they asked us to do it. So we'll go ahead and show you how to do so. All right, our first step is going to be removing these covers. The spark plugs and the ignition coils are actually underneath this cover, and I think under part of this cover. I'm going to start by taking this one off here. It's got a Star Torx bit. I am using a T30 Torx bit to loosen these, and I'm just going to go around and take all of them out. All right, so I got the bolts off this cover. I'm going to see if this cover will lift up and come off now. And it almost does. I'm going to go ahead and take off this other piece though, just to open it up. Same thing, 2 more of these Torx bolts. I think we'll also be able to get a look at the timing belt. We can check it for the customer and see how it looks. And then on this one, you've got these 2 clips. All you do is pull back this metal clip and pull up on it. And you've got one in the back too. And then this piece comes up. There we go. So we'll pull that cover off, and now we can get this cover off and out of the way. All right, so there we go. You can see our 5 ignition coils. And here's the timing belt. It actually looks pretty old. I'm going to probably get a mention to them that they want to change that if they haven't had it done yet. You definitely don't want a timing belt breaking on you. So here's our 5 ignition coils. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the electrical plugs on these. All you do is squeeze on the connector here, and if you have to, you can pull up on that a little bit. All right, so they're all unplugged. Now I've got a, I use a 10mm bolt to take these coils out. So I'll just take all those out real quick if I had a socket. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take out the 5 bolts. There's 1 bolt that holds each coil in. So I'm just gonna go ahead around and loosen them first, or break them loose, and then I'll take them all out. Okay, the bolts are all out of the coils here. So we're just gonna wiggle and twist it, and it should pull out as you're tugging on it. There we go. So I'll go through and pull each of those out. All right, so we've got our 5 coils out. Now the spark plugs are directly down in the hole here. So I'm just gonna get my spark plug socket, and I'll take all those out. All right, so I got my 5/8 spark plug socket, and we're just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna break loose all 5 of the spark plugs. And then I'll take them all out by hand real quick. Okay, so we have all 5 spark plugs loose. I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out now. This one you actually have enough room where you can, well, maybe not on that one. If you can't get your hands down in there, what you can do is take the ignition coil and poke it on the plug and pull the plug out. It's an old trick. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to put some anti-seize on our spark plugs, just a little bit on the threads. This just keeps them from getting locked into the cylinder head. So you'll see I'll just put a little bit around the base of the threads, and that'll kind of spread around as you tighten them in. And then I'm going to real gently drop it down into the hole, and I'm going to do that with all 5 of the spark plugs. Okay, now we've got the spark plugs with anti-seize on there. I'm going to go ahead and go around and just tighten them all up by hand first. Yeah, I don't have my ratchet on here, it's just the extension with the socket. Alright, now this style of spark plug has a washer on it, and the way you tighten these, once you get it finger tight, you know, where the washer is sitting against the head, what you're going to want to do is give it another 1/4 to a 1/2 turn until it feels tight. I'm sorry, a 1/2 to a full turn. These are getting tight at about 3/4 of a turn. You do not want to over torque a spark plug. You'll feel it when it's tight enough. It'll give you some resistance. All right, so at this point we're going to get our new coils ready. The customer had actually supplied the ignition coils for us. I guess they got them from some kind of discount place for really inexpensive. Unfortunately, this coil is not going to work. It looks like it wasn't quite manufactured right or something. The plugs won't plug in. You can see by looking at one of the original ones versus the new ones, you can see the spacing down here on the bottom. Right along that bottom, you'll see these 2 little grooves. What those are for is for the plug slides into those 2 grooves down in there. Because the spacing's wrong, these coils aren't going to work. We actually ended up getting them anyway from Auto Parts Direct to You, which these here, these new ones, you can see compared to the original, the spacing is correct. So we're going to go ahead and put these in. Now these coils already have some silicone dielectric grease in the base of the coil boot. If it didn't have that, we would add that in there. What that does, it just makes a nice seal around the spark plug. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and open all these up and put these on and get the bolts started. Alright, so now I'm just tightening these down by hand. Gonna do each one at a time here, and then I'll go back through and snug them with my wrench, or my socket wrench, ratchet, whatever. Tighten them with a tool. These don't have to be real tight because they're just a little plastic case coil. It just has to be tight enough so it won't loosen again. So we'll just go through and just give them a little snug on all 5 of them. Now I'll plug in the connectors to the rest of them. The way these are designed, these connectors will only face one coil at a time, so there's no way of getting them mixed up. Okay. So now we have our coils all plugged in and connected, tightened down. Our spark plugs are tightened down. I'll go ahead and put our decorative covers back on. We're going to start with this side. and then followed by this one. Now you can just go on just like they came off. Just make sure all the little tabs and everything line up, and I'm going to go around and put all our Torx bolts back in. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Make sure it runs good. Cool. All right, it's running really good. When the car first came in, it had a really bad misfire. But now it's running smooth as can be. Sounds good, nice and quiet. So that pretty much, yeah, that does complete our tune-up. So we are all set. We'll let it run for a little bit, make sure it stays good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, keep Auto Parts Direct to you in mind. Next time you need some auto parts, check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/apdty. And subscribe to us here on YouTube. So, but thank you.